What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, so yes, I know the title of this video is based on a tweet that I put out a couple of days ago, which says, if Bitcoin hits $1 million in 90 days, what happens to SPS? Now, I put a little poll out here to see where people thought the price would go, but honestly, this is not the point of the video. This question was raised by a tweet and a bet that was taken by somebody that I've talked about on this channel before, Balaji Srinivasan, who has looked at a lot of the data and health of the financial system, specifically the banks, and is raising the BIT signal, as he calls it, which is a play on the bat signal for Batman. And essentially just saying that there are major issues. We've seen several banks collapse here in the US. We've seen Credit Suisse with issues. You can even see now today, as of this morning, Deutsche Bank is trending as well, and not for the right reasons, not for good reasons. And so the whole reason he's on this whole thing, and again, for him, he's even come out and said it's not about the price target of 1 million in 90 days. He's just saying that there is a major financial crisis, and if you want to exit that system, then you should be exiting through Bitcoin specifically, right? He even says something that I really love, where he's just like, I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, but we're all Bitcoin maximalists now. So again, you can choose to believe what he says, take it at face value, take it at not. Again, I'm really closely following this because it's very interesting to me. I live in the U.S., so it's very relevant to me, and I'm a self-proclaimed Bitcoin maxi as well, right? So when I look at this, again, I'm not saying, and I don't want to delve too much into this side of things because it's more macro, not necessarily game related, but I'll tell you why I'm bringing it up in just a moment. So you can take whatever you want from Balaji. I would suggest looking into the data, because if he is right, there's definitely some issues that we can expect, maybe more money printing. There's definitely a lot of debt that is not looking good here, and probably around the world. But the whole point of this is he's focusing on decentralized money, right? Which is Bitcoin, which is crypto to a certain extent, but obviously Bitcoin is the most decentralized. So how does this relate to Splinterlands? Well, one of the reasons that I am so bullish on the game, and more importantly, bullish on the team, even though I'm sure people think that I'm super critical here sometimes, and I have been, right? And hopefully it's constructive criticism, or at least received constructively. But one of the reasons that I'm so bullish on Aggie and Matt is because they are decentralization maxis. So they get it. They're aligned from the same perspective that I am, and from what kind of Balaji is saying, where it's just like, there's this whole banking system, there's this whole financial system that is super messed up. It's like over leveraged. It's just whatever the case is. And, from hearing Matt speak, from hearing Aggie speak through town halls at Splinterfest, things like that, I get the sense that both of them are not just decentralization maxis. They're never going to say, obviously, that they're Bitcoin maxis, but they are very big believers in what Bitcoin represents, and are obviously trying to create that from a game perspective within Splinterlands. So yes, within the context of whatever ends up happening, right? Not necessarily about the bet that Balaji is making, but about the broader financial system. And if we were to move as a society, as a global economy, more towards crypto, I have a lot of faith in the game for that and that reason alone, because I know what the team is trying to build is very much in line with a lot of my views as a Bitcoiner, wanting to have a decentralized space. Now, some of that has probably gotten the team into trouble, or definitely a lot of criticism, because for them as decentralization maxis, they don't care about bots. Sorry, that's an oversimplification. They don't want to ban bots. They don't ever want to be policing and saying, well, who can come or who can play and who cannot. Now, to the team's credit, I think that they have done a phenomenal job of changing things at the economy level and at the incentive level, right? High incentive level, to reduce the amount of botting that is happening in the game. And we've seen that across the board. I mean, the number of daily active players is down significantly. The number of battles is down significantly. And you cannot tell me that a team that wants to have a large game would do that, would essentially nerf itself, but for the good of the health of the economy, right? I mean, the marketing numbers looked way better when we had 500,000 daily active users versus whatever it is now, right? Anywhere from 60 to 80,000. But the team is focused on keeping this a decentralized space and having a decentralized game. Now, will they ever make it so that it's like 100% decentralized or full Web3 game? I mean, that remains to be seen, but we are definitely moving in that direction. And I think people underappreciate the fact that there is the fact that like we can vote, right? And again, as a Bitcoin maxi, I'm not the biggest fan of proof of stake systems, but for the most part, as of now, they're operating the way that they were designed. We can have, we do have governance proposals that have been voted for and against by the community, that have passed and also not passed or been rejected. And so to me, like, this is just a fun and exciting space to be in, because the mindset and the direction, the vision from the top down, from both Aggie and Matt, being decentralization maxis, being Bitcoiners themselves, it aligns with a lot of like what I'm trying to do, where I'm focused on. So as we move potentially into a new world, again, and I'm not saying it's going to happen in 3 months or wherever Bitcoin's going to go, but as we move into a new world that becomes more crypto focused, and we see the old world, right, try to hang on to their old ways of doing things, and potentially even make it difficult for the life of people who are in crypto or people who are Bitcoiners, I trust this project even more because of that, right? Because it aligns with trying to create a space that is accessible to everyone and by everyone, and, you know, really tries to make it so that everything is incentive based rather than, like, I don't know, anything else. Like, I don't want to see, and I always appreciate the fact that Matt and Aggie come on and say, we don't want to ban accounts. We don't ever want to focus on like, you can play, you can't play. You can participate in the economy, you can't participate in the economy. That to me is a very old mentality. We've seen that with authoritarian governments all over the place. We're starting to see that maybe even now here in the US with certain banks being shut down. Like literally, like if you want to do a little research, check out Signature Bank, which was technically still solvent, but was essentially just shut down. So again, this is more of an appreciation post for the team, for specifically Aggie and Matt, and the direction that they're headed and what they're trying to build. Because sometimes I think we get so lost in the waters, right? It's just like, oh, they didn't give enough, buffs to summoners, or they didn't do X, Y, and Z, or they didn't, they didn't shut down this exploit because and the bots took advantage of it. Again, from what they're trying to build, I'm not saying that they're going to have no missteps, they're going to be perfect. Nobody is, right? But that's where I think it comes in to the rest of us to help build this, because to a certain extent, we all have a piece of ownership in the economy itself, not in the company, right? Now, people always conflate these two things. Like, owning SPS does not mean that you own a share in the company. That's actually something completely separate, and I think people should make sure that they understand that when it comes to like investing terms. But you do own a piece of the economy that is Splinterlands, the game, right? The Splinterlands economy, if you own SPS, if you own cards and are earning SPS, right? SPS is the governance token, and it's the one that's supposed to like go to the moon if the health of the game is good. If the game is if the game is awesome, if DEC is doing its thing, right? If we get people coming in, the card game, whatever, all of that, right? But now it's going to even include tower defense. To a certain extent, it's going to include any kind of future airdrops they do, such as GLX and any of the games or projects that they get into. So if you own a single SPS token, then my point to you is that like you own a piece of this decentralized space that these decentralization maxis, aka Matt and Aggie, are building. And I think that's really cool. So again, I don't want to get too deep into the waters here. Like I said, this was never about like, where is Bitcoin going to in the short term? Although I think it is important for everybody to be paying attention. Just my own personal opinion. Again, I'm not telling you to do anything or go out and buy anything or ape in. This is not financial advice, but I think you should be paying attention to what's happening to the global financial system. And all I'm going to say is that I have assets tied up in this game, and it's not that there's no risk. And I don't want to ever come off saying like, you're totally safe. I'm just saying that I feel a little safer knowing who's at the head of the project, because a lot of my whole decentralization vision for the future aligns with what Aggie and Matt are talking about and are trying to build. So that's kind of just it in a nutshell. Hopefully this wasn't too all over the place for you guys. But if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, let me know in the comment section below. We can continue the discussion there, and I'll catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.